hard drive, then you'll have to like make a copy, somehow send it to, you don't want to do all that.
So it's recording to the cloud. Oh, I see the cloud now. All right.
Yeah,
I used to be smart. Now I'm not smart.
I'm not either. Now, yeah, now I'm.
Bulletin board system, for God's sake.
I know, man.
Yeah, now I'm special.
I'll look at you.
Back in the 80s.
So what's up with Darcy? Is he coming on?
I don't know. Let me see if was he? I think he said 9:45.
Yeah, he did. He did. We're a bit early.
And that's fine.
See, yeah, this is what's funny though, Mike, is like I don't even know what the fuck we're talking about tonight.
I come up with all these subjects and I'm cool with that.
I know.
Man.
I know.
We throw out like a half dozen topics, and then after all that, then you're like, okay, what's the topic tonight? Like, we just gave you a half dozen topics.
Yeah, I know, but it's not that. It's like it feels like it's like the 11th hour, and there's so much going on, and if we landed on one thing by Sunday night or Monday even, we could all do homework.
Yeah.
And instead it's Tuesday at 6. And we're firing off like 10 things, and no one's saying, yeah, that's the thing. Let's talk about Sasquatch tonight.
No one's accountable.
Well,
but once you get when somebody says, I second that, like somebody said,
but no one does. No one's doing that. Like everybody goes.
I thought
everybody goes to radio.
And I said, yes, that's a good topic. So
Well,
that's like
okay, but what does that mean though? Love is God. Like I don't even know what that is. Like it's cryptic.
Have you seen this? There's this woman. She calls herself Mother God. She's a cult leader.
Okay,
right?
so cults.
I mean,
okay.
I love cults.
Yeah, I love cults too, but I would have watched Heaven's Gate or read about Jonestown.
That's
so. I do have an idea, and I mentioned this to Zeus a while ago. I think there's two ways we can do this. One is we assign someone as like creative director, and they come up with the topic by Sunday night, and that's what it is. Or we take turns and we do a round robin where each person takes a turn, and they have to have it assigned by Sunday night. And if you don't like the topic, tough shit. Like that's going to be the topic.
Well, I think they're both good. In other words, having somebody be in charge for the week is not a bad thing, but having it rotate is not a bad thing either.
I like the rotating.
Because it's too much work for one person.
It's too much work. Yes. And that way, whoever's week it is, they have to do like the little 5-minute intro. Like they have to like introduce a topic to the people that are watching, give it some context, give some parameters of what we're trying to, get to.
Because lately, a lot of times between John being on here, with the book, and Dana being on here a couple of times with Zeus, the psych nursing and the tarot, like we've already had it. Someone has done the intro. Like someone said, okay, we're going to talk about psych nursing today and psychology, or we have a guest here named John McKeel who's going to talk about his book, and we're going to dissect what we know about him and whatever. Or Dana's going to come on and do our tarot, or Florida Mike is on to talk about conspiracies or whatever. Like having somebody say, hey, guess what? We're talking about immigration on Tuesday. And that's what we're fucking doing. So do your homework. That's not a bad idea.
I love it. And then whoever's week it is, if they want to have a guest on, like I've thought of a few guests that, people I think would be interesting, maybe not right away. But why don't we
Mike,
do this?
Even without a guest, Mike, if it was your turn and you said on Sunday, we're talking about 70s movies with Burt Reynolds. Like, that's what we're talking about.
That's what we're talking about.
Then and then everybody has 2 days to watch every Burt Reynolds movie they could get.
And I say it by Saturday night. And that gives everyone Sunday, because the thing I like about it as a member of the team, I like that 5 out of 6 times I'm being challenged about something I don't even know what it is yet, maybe. Or maybe I do. Maybe I am informed, but
not that informed.
I'd like to do even like once in a while. I had this idea where, okay, if it's my turn to have a topic, I don't want you guys to know what I'm talking about, right?
You could do
I
that.
would go in and I would start and I would say, let me tell you about this guy. I'm going to tell you about this boy. This is how he grew up. This is what he did when he was small. This is how his parents treated him. And I'll go through the whole thing. It might turn out to be like Jeffrey Dahmer at the end, but you won't know that. Maybe you'll figure it out somewhere along the line.
I like that.
But that would be if it's your week, that's your creative choice. On Saturday night, you could say, look, the topic is going to be hidden. Just be prepared to talk about whatever.
Yeah,
that's totally
right. And then, if you have a little tangent story here or there, that's great. This fills up some time, but we still get to where we're going.
I love it.
Yeah, I like it. I like it a lot.
So why don't we start? We can start next week, and we'll do it. Let's do it alphabetical order. That way, we won't forget it. And so it would be Darcy, Jack, Jason, me, Tom, and Zeus.
Is Jason still on here?
Well, he would skip it if he's not.
Right. And then we still have Florida Mike whenever we want him.
Whenever we want, but it would be
Yeah.
If Jason doesn't want to do it, that's fine. But if he wants to do it, then he's got to do that week.
Well, he was kind of not there last week.
He disappeared. He's like,
He's very quiet.
Yeah.
Well, the other thing that's good is if everyone's forced to do it once every 6 weeks, then they're forced to do it. And some of it, like I throw out topics, but if someone's not demonstrative, then they got to do it anyway.
Also, look, I'm just telling you, when you're looking at this, and this thing buzzes off 40 times in a night, and half of them or all of them have nothing to do with anything that we're actually agreeing to discuss. Like you and Darcy have had good podcasts just on this. And it's like, why don't we talk about those issues?
Yeah.
On the pot, like Donald Trump, love him or hate him.
Yeah.
Immigration, fucking guns, black or BLM. Like, why don't we
be topical? We have to be topical at some point.
Why are we not covering all the shootings by cops of black people in the last couple of months that have turned into riots? Like, why are we not discussing that shit on this podcast? I don't understand at all. Like, I don't get it. And it is what it is, but like, we need to nail down a topic, and I'll do it if the week's news is that, then let's talk about that.
Yeah. No, we got to be able to do. We should be doing current events and obscure stuff and anything. But I like the idea of doing it round robin. It gives everyone.
I do too. Tell Darcy. Darcy, we got an idea.
Yeah, we got an idea. So I think starting. Hey,
Darcy.
Week, can you hear us?
He's looking into space.
He's got another flying spaghetti monster shirt on.
He's staring into space.
I think Darcy's the only person I know that has 2 flying spaghetti monster t-shirts.
I don't even know what that's from.
He's a Pastafarian.
From what?
It's a pseudo religion.
Yeah, it's to make fun of religion.
Oh,
but it's kind of its own thing. Yeah. So, Darcy, we had an idea. Like moving forward, starting next week, where each of the 6 of us is going to take turns in alphabetical order. So you're the first. By Saturday night, you got to text everyone everyone else with what the topic's going to be. And that's what the topic is. Like, love it or leave it. Or you can opt to say, look, I'm going to keep it a secret till Tuesday. But when it's your week, you have to do the introduction, introduce the topic, what the context is, kind of like what the parameters of the conversation are.
I like it.
And you're like the ringleader for that week, you know?
Yeah.
And that way we don't have to have all these conversations about what we're talking about. I like it because we each get to kind of have a definite topic that we're interested in. And then the other people just have to lump it, which I love. Like if I just get a text from you guys on Saturday and it's like, you know, the topic is going to be like, you know, My Little Pony. Well, then I better, you know, have something to say about My Little Pony. I kind of like that.
Okay.
Yeah. Especially
if that's cool with you, and we'll just do it in alphabetical order so we won't forget, you know, so it's Darcy, it's you, then Jack, Jason, me, Tom, then Zeus. And we'll just keep rotating.
And then also what's cool about it, Mike, what I like about it a lot is if you have to, let's say it's your turn. If you have to do that by Saturday night at like whatever, 10, by the time you go to bed.
Yeah.
But let's say 10.
Yeah.
That means that everybody else has Sunday night, Monday night to do a little homework.
Exactly.
To do a little prep, a little bit. Because if somebody says we're going to do Sasquatch and the Loch Ness Monster, there's a lot of shit you can read about it just to feel like you can contribute.
Bring something to the table.
Yeah. Just so you're not just sitting there being like.
But I like having whoever's week it is, they're like the ringleader. They set the context. You know, if you start straying way off, they can kind of bring it back.
I will say this though, for 13 episodes, we've figured it out.
Yeah, absolutely.
But also in my defense, or in our defense, for 13 episodes, we've always had a clue what we're going to talk about when the podcast starts. Some clue.
Most part.
For the most part. Whereas tonight it was very like I whatever you guys want to discuss. Like Zeus brought up cults, and he's not here.
Yeah. That's happened to us a couple times.
Yeah, that's
who brought up Scientology. That is kind of interesting.
I used to watch this show. What was it? The lady that was on
King of Queens.
Yeah.
Leah
Remini.
Yeah.
He was a former Scientologist, so she's doing this whole expose of Scientology and all the evils. It's really a cult.
Yeah, they're all a cult.
I thought it was fascinating.
Well,
that
they're all a cult.
Fascinating.
Is Christianity a cult?
Yes, anything that says all this good stuff is going to happen to us, and all this bad stuff is going to happen to you, and you're different from us, and we have these things that are unique to us.
Difference,
not you. It's a cult. You know, it's a big cult.
If you try to leave Scientology,
it's a big cult.
They chase you down and they harass you.
Oh yeah,
they attack your relatives.
Yeah, it's a little different.
Yeah, that's a different level.
Yeah.
I mean, religions. You know, some sects of religion are like that. Different religions are like that. You know.
Yeah. Well, I think people take the core of it and they turn it into something perverse.
Well. I mean, so aged religion, people take for granted that, you know, like they think that so like the Abrahamic religions or whatever, like Christianity, people assume that it's always a good because of the way they see it, like today, you know, where it's very, you know, it's kind of calmed down. Like I can say, I don't like that, I don't believe that, and I don't have to worry about it. But like 200 years ago, most people would we're like, oh, we should kill him or we should do something
Right.
to him.
No, they'll burn
we
you at
gotta
the
do something,
stake
you know.
in a second, you know.
Right. Well, I think
Christians have yeah.
I think Christianity got perverted over time by a lot of different sects, and they were sects. They were cults. They weren't overall Christianity. I mean,
Well,
at all.
Well, you got people, having, death threats for drawing cartoons of Muhammad, and
Yeah.
got all
Well,
kinds of crazy stuff.
Well, that's still going on.
Salman Rushdie
That's
is still being chased around.
Oh,
isn't
even though he ended the fatwa, what was that? The Ayatollah Khomeini?
he?
Yeah.
Called it.
Yeah, he ended the fatwa. So
But I think people
And-
still want to kill him, right?
Well,
yeah,
well, I know he was on Curb Your Enthusiasm with Larry David.
Who was this?
At one
Rushdie?
point.
Who?
Salman Rushdie.
Salman
Oh,
Rushdie.
yes.
because didn't that
Yeah.
happen? We were like in high school, right?
Yes, Seinfeld
that's
was
way
on.
back.
Yeah, he did this satanic verses. He wrote the satanic
Right.
verse.
But some of it, it's not just religion. I mean, there's definitely there can be a secular orthodoxy as well, right? So if you don't toe the line, you are cast out, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't have to be organized religion necessarily.
Yeah, but there's
Not
also
to defend
got to.
religion, but
Well, no, there's also got to be a line on what society should let people get away with. Like, I mean, when you look at like Charles Manson had a cult, right?
I mean, he was a
We-
charismatic leader. Yeah.
Right.
Well,
They all
he,
are.
he had his own cult, and he crossed the line when a bunch of hippies decided it was a good idea to, murder and mutilate other people. Like, that was that. But then, what do you do with something like Waco, where they were just a cult?
Yeah, I don't think
Right.
they did anything that. I mean, the
No.
government should not have stormed in there. Definitely.
Right. That's my point. Like, they were a cult. Like, they were.
Yeah.
They
You have
if
to
you had,
give people freedom to. I mean, if people want to be crazy, as long as they're not hurting anybody, let
right.
them be crazy. If they're off on their own on a compound,
Yeah.
acting
That's-
like
that's-
nuts, you know.
That's my point. Like, there's some cults where you go live on a compound. Like, the four of us could go camping at Darcy's friend's place and decide, and
Sort of commune.
yeah,
We
we
may
could
never come
find
back.
and just never come back and find Jesus.
Hey, man, I'm for
You
it.
have to be
I'm right-
free
I'm
to
for
come
it.
and go, though. Right.
I'm all in.
Right. I think the people in Waco were free to come and go.
Right.
Um,
He had a
and-
strong influence over them. I think
Didn't
at
that
the end of the day,
didn't that
they
whole
were-
Waco thing start because of some kind of gun charge or something?
Well, yeah,
That
no,
was the
they had.
pretext.
That was
they
the
had-
excuse.
Yeah.
Well, no, they did have a stockpile of guns, but they would.
Yeah, but it was something about them doing something illegal, like taking shotguns and sawing them, the wrong way or
They
something.
were-
But
they were-
we have laws, and laws need to be enforced. I mean, I know about areas in like West Virginia where they have these hollers. People come down from the mountain, get into fights in bars, and then the cops let them go back. They're like, "Oh, we'll catch him later. We won't go through the whole." He'll be at a
Right.
store and we'll arrest him. Laws need to be enforced.
Yeah.
I don't believe in that whole selective policing kind of thing that we have right now.
Then if we're going to allow, or if we're going to justify mass shooting of a cult and
I mean,
gassing,
things get out of hand, but law enforcement needs to
Then-
do what law
then
enforcement
law-
needs to do.
well,
I don't,
then law enforcement can
or then
justify.
we don't need to have, what's the purpose in having law?
Then they can justify anything, like killing in any, you name the fucking American city where someone gets killed by a cop, you can justify it. I mean, it doesn't make it right. These people were living on their own, doing their own fucking thing.
No, but didn't it start by two officers coming to the door and like knocking, and
Yeah,
they were fired on?
No.
No.
How did it start?
So it started. One of the things was that the Branch Davidians. One of the ways they made money was they would buy and sell guns at gun shows in West Texas, or around Waco. And
Right.
the accusation by the ATF, which is still hotly debated today, and we don't have to get into that, was that they were taking semi-automatic weapons and converting them to fully automatic, which is obviously big no. There's no proof that they never found these. I mean, there's reports that they did, but they magically disappeared, after the Inferno. I mean, there's a lot of reasons why people speculate, how it went down. I mean, to me, again, being like a media person, the big lesson from Waco was the fact that no one was allowed anywhere near the compound. Like, all the cameras and the reporters were like a mile away, looking through, lenses.
Right.
The government was totally had a stranglehold on the information coming in and out. And looking at a lot of the footage and the tapes and the communications that were occurring during the time that we weren't privy to at the time, the narrative that was being given is completely different than what was actually going on at the time. I mean, they weren't like crazy people going nuts in there or anything like that.
Well, we can call them a little nuts for believing in David Koresh.
Yeah.
But
he was consistent. He wasn't, and again, I'm not a Koresh defender, but the guy, he wasn't going off the deep end. He had telegraphed his beliefs for years. I mean, it wasn't like a mystery. I mean, anyone that followed what he was into or followed the Branch Davidians, could guess
He was
what
getting,
he was
getting
do.
a little, he was going a little bit off with the, like the sex with the
Oh,
young
yeah.
girls, I think.
Yep.
And I think he wouldn't allow the other men in the cult to have sex, but he could have sex, something like that.
He believed.
That's always seems to happen in these cults.
He believed that.
Yeah,
that's a religion thing.
Tom, that's a charisma thing. That's a charisma.
Make it a rule that, okay, Darcy and Mike cannot have sex.
No, but Mike, but Tom, that's the whole point, though. He's the leader. They all followed him. Once you get people to follow you, you're gonna get yours.
Who's the most charismatic cult leader? Would it be Koresh or
Jones?
Jim Jones?
That's a whole other, Jim Jones.
He got people to follow him all the way to
Ghana.
Yeah. That takes a lot of talking to people.
I think the cult of personality, I mean, you could talk about Adolf Hitler while you're at it. I mean,
absolutely.
It goes pretty fucking deep when you really boil it down. But yeah, I mean, Jones, what was it? Who was the Jonestown guy?
Jim Jones.
Yeah.
Jim Jones. Yeah. I mean, that's pretty. What about, and then what was the other one? Heaven's Gate.
Oh yeah,
I don't know if that guy
Hail
had
Bob.
any charisma.
Yeah, I remember that. That's when I was working at ABA when that happened.
But maybe they succeeded, right? Who knows? Maybe they're on the comment right now. Who knows?
Yeah.
They're behind Darcy right there.
We have no
There
idea.
They go.
Right.
Yeah.
There they go.
Maybe they made it.
There they go. I'm watching them.
But didn't they castrate themselves? He had everybody castrate themselves or something.
And they had like purple sheets. They all wore the same Adidas sweats pants with the same Adidas shoes. Yeah, it's very strange.
So a religion's got you when they get you to mess around with yours or your kids' private parts.
Yeah, that's generally
hey, give me some of that
and
skin there.
That's what I mean about the cult of personality, though, because
there's circumcision, though.
How does anybody ever at some point even Judas said, I can make money selling this guy out for the nonsense, and money talks, right? So that was one guy. like what, 2,000 plus years ago, if you
Yeah.
believe the story. If you believe the story. So now you got families of people.
But then he hung himself.
Sure he did. Yes.
I'm just saying, that's the story.
No, well, yeah, he felt really bad or he was damned or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But you have people with their own women and children in these cults, whether it's Waco or Jonestown. And let's go with Jonestown because it's like the extreme. I so believe in this motherfucker. Like, I so believe.
It's comforting to believe in something, right? So for a lot of people,
Yes.
not for me personally, but I get it. You know, if you are disaffected or you don't necessarily feel like you have the answers to things, or you may have had, you know, some disparate power relationships in your past, either with parents or spouses or coworkers or whatever. And, you know, it's very intoxicating for someone to have someone else say, I have the answers. Like, do what I tell you. It's very soothing. It's very comforting. It's, you know, it's like autopilot.
But Michael, that's the whole point though. Like, at some point, like the whole thing with Scientology, with people like Leah Remini, who we talked about, right?
Mm-hmm.
When she was born into that shit.
Yeah.
And she did everything she could to be part of it.
Mm-hmm.
And when she finally got to the final sacred book, because that's her story. I heard her on Joe Rogan years ago. And she said, I finally got into the final room with the sacred Bible of Scientology. And she found out about Xenu. You know, Xenu, the fucking evil god that put pesticides into our souls and dropped bodies in volcanoes. And like, when she read it, she was like, what the fuck am I doing? And so like, if I'm part of Jonestown and I'm all in with this guy and he wants to fuck my daughter and my wife, and I'm still on board and I'm chopping wood,
Yeah.
you know, and I'm doing all that stuff. And then he says, hey, guess what? The comet is coming. It's time to cut your balls off and drink this.
Let's do it.
And feed this to your kids and then drink it yourself. Like, how far gone do you have? Like, you can't just blame religion. Like, you have to.
I think
yes, you can. It's a brainwashing. That's all it is.
Yeah.
I think it's a disservice to say that, you know, going, you know, typical religious service or someone having some sort of faith tradition is the same as a Jonestown cult. I think that's a little disingenuous.
Yes, you can. Yes, you can. You can say it's 10% or it's 15% of it. Yes, you can, and it is. That's exactly what it is. It's no different. It's just the light version. They're still asking you for money. They're still asking you to do ridiculous things. They're still asking you to be upset with other people that are doing things that don't affect you in any way.
They're not all, Darcy. They're not.
Depends on the religion. Yeah.
Darcy, they're not all doing that. You can be a Christian, believe in Jesus Christ and the faith, and not do any of that stuff.
Yeah.
Just
yeah, I think I'm just saying, Darcy, I'm not going to try and convince you. I'm just saying personally, I think it's a simplistic way of looking at it. I mean, it's like saying, like, I'm trying to think of an example. It's like, you know, it's going to take me a minute, but I mean, it's a wide variety, and to lump it all in the same thing, say it's all like Jonestown is like, all right. I mean, it's kind of a non-starter conversation.
Well, look, let's say you even have your regular standard fare religion, right? I don't care whether it's Judaism or Christianity or Islam. If they're not making you do something, and if they're not, like, I mean, I'm a Christian. I was born Roman Catholic, You know, I'm a recovering Catholic, if anything, right? But I'm still a Catholic.
Mhm.
And I mean, I'm wearing a cross now. Like I'm a Christian. I don't feel compelled to do anything but treat people well.
No, maybe you don't, but many people like to get that crap into politics and everything. They like to say, okay, you can't do this because of my religion. It doesn't want you to do this thing, you know. I just there's that. It's like a
Well, Darcy,
it's just like some people that if something doesn't bother them, they're like, hey, it's not that bad. But it's like, huh?
I hate
What are you talking
that.
about?
Yeah, I'm with you. I hate that.
No, and I agree, but Darcy, I don't think it's just a religious thing. I mean, like I said, when I was making the point about, you know, you have secular orthodoxy as well that has nothing to do with religion. I think what you're talking about is more just like a human behavioral thing with or without religion. I mean, I know plenty of people that aren't necessarily religious that are draconian in their thinking of things, you know, and are very us and them about things, and they're not religious, but it's still the same behavior. I mean, the same net result.
I think this country, I mean, put it in perspective, comparing to other countries like Iran or someplace. Is there not more religious freedom here than in most other countries around the world? I mean, are you free to practice Judaism and Christianity in Iran to the same degree where you can dress how you want and people will go out of their way to protect you? Is it the same across the world?
No.
Is it unique here in the US?
Oh,
I don't know that it's unique here. I know what it is here. I'm sure there's other countries that are similar, and then there's other countries where they cut your head off, literally.
Yeah.
So it's hard. Yeah, I don't know.
So
No, but I'm just saying it's something that must constantly be fought, you know, right, to make sure. But you got to keep people in check. You know, anything you got to keep people in check. You know,
But nobody wants to get burned at the stake.
And here in this country, it's Christianity. You know, it likes to encroach on things. It likes to, and then it likes to say, "Oh, we're the victim." The big victim.
All right, wait.
60.
All right, wait, Darcy. If you're specifically going to bash Christianity,
if I was in a mostly Islamic country,
let me
I'd probably
finish.
be bashing Islam.
Wait. Let me finish my sentence. If you're going to attack Christianity in this country, which helped form it and do all sorts of good shit, what exactly are you talking about? Because I don't see it being done at all.
Oh, because it does. Obviously, it doesn't affect you.
Well, what?
Okay.
Okay.
I just like people to go by what the rules they actually set up. If there's a separation of church and state, let there be a separation of church and state. Damn it! There doesn't need to be this. Oh man, and I'm sorry.
Woo! It's all right, man.
Hey,
it's going out on the web, Darcy.
Time out. Let him in. Where's the Michael's? Where's the Michael spot? What's up, buddy?
Where's his earphones?
Yeah, can he
Hey,
hear?
Michael.
Yeah, he can hear you. Why are you out of bed? Uh-huh.
This is his spot.
How old is he again?
4.
Michael, say hello.
What's up, man?
Thank you.
My boy, he'll be 5 on Saturday.
All right.
Sweet.
Oh, nice. Wait, you gotta Tom, you gotta give him the microphone. You gotta give him the mic from now on. Let him
He's got to pick a topic, man. I want to talk about Pokemon or something.
No,
let him in alphabetical order right behind Mike.
No, let him like drop some wisdom. Let him just drop some wisdom.
He can tell you all about Among Us. He loves that game.
Oh yeah. My son, he plays that.
Oh, wait a minute.
So
Time out. Zeus is texting me as we do this.
Yeah, I got a text too. I don't know.
Dude.
He doesn't want to get online now.
Dude, just jump in. Just get online.
He doesn't want to
No
be
one-
disrespectful.
Oh,
That's
it's okay.
That's-
Be disrespectful.
what? How is he just? It's
Don't
his
say- We're
show.
recording. Don't say anything, but
It's his show.
I know. But okay, to
Just
get back on topic.
online. It's
So did
your
anybody
show.
read the article about the mother god person?
Yes.
Did you guys see what that's about?
I
From
Who's
what
that?
I read, and I don't know a whole lot about it, but I read the reports and they arrested like everybody that was there.
I don't know anything.
I'm like,
about
why
it.
did they arrest these people?
Hold on, what is this?
Mother
Mother
God?
God she was like a cult leader. She called herself Mother God, and everybody like worshiped.
Oh
worship her.
Jesus!
Yeah, and then she died, and I'm not clear on how she died. But
Amy.
so when the
Amy
police
Cross-
showed up, she was laying in the bed. They had built like a shrine around her dead body. They're not sure how long she was there, maybe a month or something.
Oh,
They had
wow.
like scooped out her eyes and put all these flowers
That's
around
part-
her and stuff.
Yeah.
And then they arrested everybody. I'm thinking, I mean, they worship this woman, so I don't think they were really desecrating the body, or
No, they
I
put
don't
like
know.
sparkles around her eyes, and like she was like a mummy, and they like wrapped her up and all that stuff. Apparently,
Do you think a crime was committed there?
I don't know. I mean, it's hard to say. I mean, I think she died, and they kind of just kept her going. I mean, there's people that have spouses
Yeah,
die.
I mean, technically,
Leave them in their
embalming someone is desecrating a body. I mean, so
Not if you worship the person and you
Yeah.
build an altar
I mean,
around them.
yeah.
You're not desecrating.
I love the Christmas lights touch. That's fantastic.
Where?
They wrap
yeah,
her
They
wrapping
in-
her-
did it around the
Christmas lights?
room or something.
So here's a question, and it's an honest question. I don't know. So if you know someone and they die and they're like dead and they're like in your house, and like, what's the length of time before you call somebody to report it?
well, at least before it starts to smell.
Is that
Before-
person like
But
a god?
when does it
Or is it a
become
normal
when does
person?
it become a crime? I guess like how long
Oh,
That
how
person
long
is
can that
God,
person be there?
They can stay as long as they want, right?
I mean, are you
No,
compelled to
no,
call
that-
the authorities and be like, oh, by the way,
Are they paying rent? Is a check coming
Mike,
automatically?
I'm not saying they're
Mike,
dying. I'm saying they
Mike,
are
that's
dead.
that's a good question.
I'm just wondering.
There
I mean,
you
is
go.
it
It's like
crime?
immediately you have to report it to somebody.
I don't
I don't
know.
know.
I don't think you do. That's what I'm saying.
I
I
told
don't know if you
myself.
do.
I don't think you have to. I mean, if they're
I-
dying, then you're compelled to help them. But if they're already dead, I don't know
Yeah,
don't know if
it's
you're
curious.
to report
But a
that.
lot of these cults, they're against like hospitals and they're against doctors though. So they won't take you to a doctor.
Why am I blurry?
I don't know.
Yeah,
You've
why
been
are you
blurry for a
blurry?
while.
Yeah,
I know.
What kind of camera do you have there?
It's a Logi HD
Logitech.
1080.
Logitech.
Yeah.
I need a
Logitech.
camera, dude. My laptop camera is not good.
No, Mike, you're coming in really sharp today
Yeah.
for some reason.
You're clear.
Mike,
I need
Mike,
a new mic. I mean, a microphone.
Yeah.
Hey, Mike, this is the first time you're coming in like radically clear.
Well, I
Yeah,
have
I
like
thought there was something new.
5,000 candle power of light bulbs going off now because the more light I have, so I'm like, it's like 100 degrees in this room right now.
Yeah, but you look good though. You look sharp.
I did get a haircut today.
No,
Alright.
I meant like picture wise.
Thanks, man. It means a lot, Jack.
Yeah, and you also did.
Like I
You
meant
also- yeah,
picture-wise.
Yeah,
Don't look good at all. It's just
Wait,
clear.
yeah. In fact, Tom, you're a little like duller now. Your
Yeah, I
picture's
know.
not.
I don't
Zeus
have
looks-
all of my lights on.
I mean, Zeus.
But-
Darcy looks crystal clear.
Yeah,
So
Darcy's clear.
Darcy's
I'm blurry. So when I get up to pee, I'll come back and focus.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah. But no, Mike, you look good. No, you know what? It's funny too, because Dana refers to you now as Grizzly Mike. Yeah,
Right.
she's like, Mike. Yeah. She's like, which Mike? Which Mike? I see
Grizzly.
Grizzly Mike?
Grizzly
Yeah, I'm like,
Mike.
yes. Grizzly Mike, yes.
As opposed to like,
As opposed-
was it
as opposed-
still life, Mike?
No, as
Still life.
as opposed to Florida Mike, I guess.
Oh,
or
gotcha.
Mike or Mike Tom's kid Mike.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of mics.
There's a lot of
mice.
mice.
When I was in kindergarten, we had 12 kids in my class, and 3 of us were named Michael.
Oh,
Yeah.
1 out of 4
yeah,
kids.
I've never had that
Probably.
problem.
Yeah.
Never had
I
that
was-
problem.
I was the only Jack.
Yeah, there's usually just one Tom. And
Oh, here he
Oh.
comes. Here he comes. I'm stepping out. I'm stepping out to come back and focus.
okay, go pee.
Wait, he's
Actually-
Crazy
coming.
guy.
Wait, he's coming. He's coming.
It's like
Connected.
spin the wheel to see who's
Wait.
going to show up.
Wait, offer my sympathies.
I'm upside down.
Oh, don't say anything, Jack. We're recording.
No, I'm serious. It's his mother-in-law.
I don't know if he wants that out there.
I'll edit it. Oh,
He's in the
Jesus
car.
Christ. Look at this.
Where is he? He's-
Don't drive and podcast.
He's gonna
Oh,
go
wow.
off.
That's
He's-
against the law.
Yeah, man. No driving and podcasting. Can you hear
Yeah,
us,
what-
Zeus?
Aren't a bunch of states about to have some kind of law like that or something because of the whole thing with some senator or congressman or something that was on a Zoom call and he was driving? Have you seen that?
No.
So he's like trying to play
Senator.
it off like he's still at home, right? So he's got this whole setting that's like it looks like he's at home,
No
but then
way.
you see there's a big strap across his, and you see him and he's like,
Oh, so he had the virtual background.
He had the virtual background.
Okay.
You know what's funny?
you know,
I gotta.
he's like looking back and forth. And it's so funny.
I gotta find this this link. There's this company called Books by the Foot, and they're a company in DC here that you can hire, and they like if you're like during the pandemic, a lot of times for these people that are like on TV, you know, like politicians or people that are pundits on TV. So you can call them and you can rent, they'll come and like fill your bookshelves with appropriate books behind you, and they charge by the foot of it's a real, I'm not kidding. And there's a link and you can see people that have been their patrons, and it's like all the same books, like it's like in, you know, like arranged just so behind them. And it's like a lot of people that are,
Who
you know,
would
pretty
need
famous
that?
people.
I've got too many books. I don't have enough bookshelves for all my books.
But who has it like right
switched to
behind them?
I switched to Audible.
But you didn't throw your books in the trash. I mean, you kept them, right?
No, most of them I've given away and stuff, and I've replaced with the Audible. So
I still got all my books.
Is Audible?
Huh?
You mean like listening, Darcy, or is
Yeah.
it like a? Okay, so it's not like a Kindle thing. It's like you just hear them.
yeah,
Okay.
it's all Audible. Yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah. It's a part of it. Amazon. Well, Amazon owns it now. So
Are you guys good
I-
at listening to audiobooks? Because I kind of struggle with that.
I
because
can't. I
I keep,
just
So-
I keep getting
so-
lost, and I rewind and I try to listen again.
I
and then-
okay,
can't do
so at first that happened a lot because I was trying to do like something else at the same time,
right.
and it
That's-
really doesn't work. The only thing that you can do when you're listening to a book is like walk. That's about it. Or
You have to
either
pay
lie
attention.
lie down and listen. But if you do that, then you're gonna fall asleep. So
Yeah.
the best thing is the walking and listening. So last year, I was doing this thing like every day. I was walking for about 5 or 6 miles, and I need to start that back up again because I put all that stuff back on.
Right.
So I will do that soon.
That's the other thing is I would listen and then I would fall asleep. And I'm
Yep.
like, okay, where did I leave off? And then I got to
Yeah.
figure out how to get
But-
back to
And I used to get only like novels or autobiographies and stuff like that. But recently I started getting the Marvel comic stuff. And so I love that. Like I'm always excited. And it's like 13 hours of Spider-Man.
Wait, on audiobook?
Yeah.
Holy
Yeah.
cow!
You,
15 hours of Iron Man.
you
Or
do
the
Iron
whole
Man and
secret,
Spider-Man
the whole
and audio.
Secret Wars, like the whole Secret Wars.
Yeah.
It was kind of neat listening to it, all the actors and everything.
Wait,
Because I had it when I was a kid.
on,
Wow.
on audiobooks?
Yeah.
They have
Holy
like sound
sh-
effects and everything.
They have music, and I guess they were probably sound effects. I can't really remember, but there probably are. But they have different voice actors and stuff for a lot of
Oh
it.
wow!
That's
Wow!
Yeah, so
That's
it's like a modern old time radio almost, you know.
But
Yeah.
are you saying it took you a little while to get used to like taking the information in that format, or is that what you were saying? Like it just took a while?
Well, trying to figure out how I could use it. So you know, it took a little while because doing the whole thing, like just trying to lie down and listen, I would always fall asleep.
Yeah.
You know, and then if I'm up, I'm easily distracted by something else. So I mean, you really
Yeah.
in a chair away from everything else, just the
Yes.
headphones on, and you're like, I'm just gonna, but you'll probably just end up falling asleep while you're sitting.
Right.
You know?
Right.
So
That's,
the best thing is walking or while you're driving or something like that.
oh, that's awesome.
I would be afraid while I'm driving. I talk a lot. I mean, hands free, like on the phone. And my office is in Annapolis, and I live in Silver Spring, so it's like a 40-minute drive. I've gotten in my car, gotten on the phone, and then talked to someone for 40 minutes, and arrived at my office. Have no recollection of the
Yes.
drive.
That's common because you don't need to.
It's like autopilot.
So your brain, right. It's on autopilot. Your brain is looking out for anything that's abnormal. And if nothing abnormal happens, then you will totally not remember anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's happened to me a bunch of times.
Yeah.
Have you ever done the thing where you're like, I'm gonna go, you're thinking I'm gonna stop somewhere else on the way to something that you're going to. And even though that's in your head, I'm gonna stop
You
at
don't
this
do it.
place. You're just thinking about the destination.
Right.
So you just totally, and so then you're most of the way there, and then you go, oh man, now that's out of the way.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
Wait.
So I can understand, like, you know, how people like leave their kids in the back of the car, like if it's not a normal
Freaks
thing,
me out. But yeah.
something, yeah, man, it's
That freaks me out more than anything. Because like I totally get that people just forget. And it's horrible.
Yeah.
But
So Darcy, so when do you listen to this audiobook stuff? Like on the way somewhere, or
like when I'm walking, when I'm out walking.
Oh, okay. Because
I'll just download it. Well, like it's on my iPhone or either on my my iPad or whatever, and so I'll throw it in the car.
When I'm walking, I listen to the Friends of Zeus podcast.
Yeah, I listen to the Friends of Zeus podcast as well.
so do I.
Multiple times.
No, I actually found on YouTube there was like a BBC radio, like British radio production of it was like the novel. It was a novel called Salem's Lot by Stephen King. And it was a dramatization, and it's in 7 parts on YouTube with actors. You know, they read parts of so it's not the whole book. It's you know, they
like
turn it into like it's abridged, but it's like different voice actors and whatnot. And I would listen to it while I was going to sleep, and so I would fall asleep with it on. And then I would rewind it a little bit the next night to get through it. And I liked it a lot. But then I found sometimes where I just was tired, or I talked to Dana, you know, but I couldn't imagine walking and driving like that, because there's so much shit that I do want to listen to, like the Friends of Zeus podcast, and other podcasts. But that's really, I think, Darcy, you're right. That's really the only time you can do it, because if there's so many other distractions.
Yeah.
So it's either when you're going to bed. Wait, what are you doing?
This dude's a fool.
Is this the Crotch of Zeus podcast that I've stumbled upon?
I don't know what he's doing.
I wonder if he can hear us.
I think he's in Walmart.
No, but Darcy, the Marvel comics sounds great.
Yeah, man, I really enjoy it. And my plan is, I guess they've changed the way the account works, so you can have like teens on your account and one adult. You have up to 4 teens and 1 adult. I think I'm going to set my dad up on one of the teen accounts. My dad, he's blind now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he had an accident like God, man, I guess that was like three it's either 3 or 4 years ago. He slipped and fell, hit his back. That back injury that he ignored, because he felt better, it ended up getting worse, and he went to the hospital, got looked at, found that there was some kind of nerve that had been like kind of crushed or whatever.
Yeah.
And while he was there at the hospital, he lost feeling in both of his legs, below the knee, and just started having a bunch of issues. Ended up having to put him in a home, and lots of infection, and it's one of these things that you can come back from this once they relieve the pressure and everything, if they catch it soon enough.
Right.
But one of the things that happened from it was losing his eyesight. So when you slip and fall and you think you're okay, still go get checked out, because this was something that happened like 3 weeks after, the initial injury. So.
Can you hear me?
Who is that masked man?
But anyway, my dad's always loved comics. Like, he got me into, like, he had like all the Thor and X-Men, all the stuff from the 60s, and it's pretty neat, his collection.
Wow.
All right, guys, I gotta go. I was just calling you while I was going to the store.
What is going on, man?
Not much. Well, I'm sorry. Somebody who shall not be named is back at home with the kids, and I had to go get some groceries. So that's my contribution to the show.
All right.
Okay.
Our comic relief.
Thanks for sharing your crotch with us.
Yeah, I was
Have a
missing
good night.
Wait. You want to see the plumber butt?
The what?
My plumber butt.
Oh, plumber butt.
I've seen it.
This is a family program, so.
All right, fellas. I'll not distract any longer. Bye.
Okay, so I did want to talk about cicadas for a second.
Okay.
Well, I mean, I'm just like, do you guys remember 04? Like, what were you doing in 04? Did you have them in your area?
Let me see. The last time I remember cicadas really being an issue, I want to say it was like 87.
So it would have been before the 04. Yeah.
No. They seem to come out every year.
No,
If you
well,
Google
those are
cicadas
the
2020,
losers.
there's
Those
a
are the
bunch of
loser
articles about
cicadas.
cicadas in Virginia.
Oh, what happened to Jack?
I don't know.
Jack
But this
froze.
is Brood
Yeah.
10 definitely is the big one. And it's every 17 years.
Yeah, there's so many different broods. They pretty much come out almost every year.
Yeah.
But not in the same number.
It seems
Right,
like we
right.
hear this every summer. Like, okay, watch out, the cicadas are coming.
What area are you in, Tom? Are you in Virginia?
Virginia.
So, yeah, I mean, for me personally, in 04, I was building custom homes at the time, and I remember brooming sidewalks and front stoops with thousands of cicadas with a push broom,
Right.
and I don't do that every year. So, and that was up in Maryland. I mean, I was in Maryland.
You're
Near
not saying
Baltimore.
you haven't seen cicadas for 17 years.
Once in a while, but not in the numbers that
I see them like,
I don't
I
know.
would think that, I mean, you do home repair and stuff. You should see them all the time. Anytime you're digging in the ground, because they're everywhere.
Yeah,
Those
but
things are everywhere.
not in the numbers. I mean, I'm starting to
Alright.
see here around our house, like we have a park across the street. And over the last weekend, I was over there and I counted it was more than 100 holes, like near the base of the trees, where they're starting to come out. But,
Yeah, we have there's a ton of holes all over the yard. Yeah, so
Yeah,
I
I've
know
never
they're
seen that,
somewhere.
But Tom, you have not seen like a mass.
No.
Okay.
I mean,
Man, I
Yeah.
remember, okay, so when I was in high school, there were so many of these things one summer. I mean, they were just everywhere. And you couldn't even, it was hard to not step on them, you
87
know?
would have been that year.
And they'd fly into your hair. They were just everywhere,
Everywhere.
you know?
I don't know, but they seem to come out like pretty much every year. I hear these news.
No, but not, that's,
all the
that, but
time.
that's not, it's like when I was a kid, that was ridiculous. And I've
Yeah.
never seen it like that really again.
Maybe they're concentrated like here and there.
Yeah, that
They
must
do
be
come
it,
out
because
pretty much
it
every
was in
year.
Reston and over the place, you know.
Okay, well, that's enough about cicadas.
Okay, all right. I thought we'd start talking about eating them. I don't know.
Oh, I thought about that. I mean, they always have the recipes that come out. Oh, Jack wants to come in. Let's see. Admit. All right, there's Jack. I'm just amazed that these things fly around for 2 weeks, lay their eggs, and then it's like 17 years they suck
All
off the
the
roots.
insects. I mean,
Yeah.
don't spiders only live for like
Hello?
2 weeks?
Yeah, but
Oh,
then
really?
but they're not. The cicadas are actually like 17 years old, right? So they're laid, little eggs.
No, they're dormant. They're like
dormant.
eggs.
Well, they do eat they do feed off of tree roots while they're underground. Like they are alive at a certain point. They're not dormant the whole time.
How did that happen evolutionary wise?
I don't know.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're
So
clear. You're clear.
Jack, up there in
Not your face, but just your camera is clear.
up there in upstate New Jersey. Do you
You're
guys
not
get
sh-
cicadas?
sharp.
The 17-year
don't-
ones?
I don't. It's the Garden State. So yes, I assume we do, but not where I live.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm a city boy.
Gotcha.
Yeah, we
They
don't
probably
have.
they poured concrete all over the cicadas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cicadas can't get out, man.
Yeah, yeah, you're not gonna make it. Yeah, your reign is over.
Yeah, we don't have trees.
Have you ever seen those videos of the plagues, like the locusts, like a swarm of locusts?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, it's kind of like that, isn't it?
But they don't eat stuff like that. They're
Yeah.
pretty harmless.
So they're
I mean, they
better than
do-
locusts.
Yeah, I mean the cicadas do all their damage when they're in the ground. They don't really once they're flying around, they're pretty harmless.
Do you guys remember that horror movie, The Beast Within?
No.
Oh.
So
Who was the bad guy?
No, it was about this teenage kid who became like a monster because his father, who raped his mother, was a monster, and he was like a creature that came out of the skin every 17 years with the cicadas. He was like a bug, like a giant creature thing, and it had one of the best transformation scenes ever.
What's
and
it
it
called
was
again?
it's called The Beast Within.
Beast Within.
that sounds
Oh.
kind of like Jeepers Creepers.
I
'Cause
love
in Jeepers Creepers, the villain would like come out like every 23 years.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, this one they talk about the cicadas. Like that's the only when I grew up a city kid, I didn't know what a cicada was until I saw this movie, and then I was like, I looked in the encyclopedia. I was like, what are they talking about? And they had the sound effect because they sound like crickets.
Yeah.
they're very loud.
Yeah, they're very loud. Yeah, it's a good movie, dude. Watch the transformation scene alone is gross. It's gross as fuck. It's awesome.
I'm
Is
writing
it like
it
an
down.
insect type monster?
It's just a monster, but the kid's head like splits in half and his back opens up and this
Okay.
thing comes. Yeah, it's awesome. It's great.
What year was it?
I want to say 1980.
Like I says,
A lot of Cairo syrup.
Yeah,
in there.
1982, February 12th, 1982.
like kind of like the thing type.
Yeah.
yeah.
Now that
Yeah.
that is a freaky movie, man.
That still freaks me out, man. That
that-
still freaks me out, that movie.
The thing
Do you know
is
what freaks me out the
three.
most? I don't
It's
know if
number
I
three.
already said this. It was a Star Trek episode with these jelly things that were all over a cave, and they walk into this cave, and these jelly things start dropping down, and they attach to their heads, and then they could control them. And I watched that when I was like, I don't know, I must have been 6. Had me totally freaked out. Like I was totally afraid of everything, thinking that something's going to drop down on my head,
Wait a minute.
take my body over.
Do you guys remember? I mean, we're totally off topic.
That's
but
fine.
what
We're
we
not.
did.
We're on topic. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we do. Do you guys remember seeing? Because we're all about the same age.
I'm much younger than you guys, but yes.
Yeah. Okay. Sure. Well, I can put it this way. What was the movie you remember that first really scared you about the way you might die?
Oh,
Or just first really scared you?
Poltergeist.
I mean,
The Fog.
The Fog.
No,
Yeah,
one,
I saw
what was
that at
the
a
one-
drive-in. I saw that at a drive-in theater, and I was like, I think I was in 4th grade. Something like
Wow.
that.
Yeah. Well, the Fog was like what, 80?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. So I was like in 3rd grade. Yeah.
What?
What was the
Yeah.
movie where the people kept dying? Like there was this one scene where they died, where there was a truck in front of them that had like the lead pipes or something. And
The final. It was like the final something. Like they're supposed to die.
Yeah,
Like they
remember
avoid
what
it, but then something else happens to.
because
to
I
kill
think of
them.
that every time I'm driving and I see a
Yeah, it's like
truck.
it's
got, like,
called
these-
the final something, or the final destiny, or it's the final something.
Oh,
Final
wait.
Destination.
Because I always
Final
think of like the truck
Destination?
coming to a stop and these lead
Wait,
rods just come
wait.
shooting at me.
Final
I
Destination.
remember that. I remember
That came out in the 90s.
90s.
Yeah.
That's a video game. Is that the
No.
movie also?
It was a movie that came out in the 90s. How can that be the first horror movie that you
But
remember
well,
scaring?
in terms of how you die, though,
Okay.
'Cause that one stuck with me because I still think about that to this day. I think if I see a truck with a ladder on the top or a van, I'm always
With
worried
the
that
pipes.
ladder's gonna
Yeah. All right. Okay. That's
come at me.
well, all right. Well, wait a minute. What was the first horror movie you remember that like grossed you out or scared you about?
It just scared me was The Exorcist. No, The
Mm.
Exorcist just scared you like right to the core
Yeah.
because it's like devil.
Yeah.
type stuff.
You know, the Exorcist never
Number
scared
2.
me. I thought it was
number
funny.
2.
The Exorcist Part 2.
No, I'm saying for me that's the number 2 horror movie of all time.
No.
Is The Exorcist.
For me, I thought it was kind of funny. You know, it just never really. It never really scared me.
The thing freaked me out.
That's because you mock religion.
But I will tell you,
I was
The
like,
one-
hey, that would never happen.
That
to
would
an
never
atheist.
as a kid,
You might be possessed by the devil right now.
the one movie that always freaked me out and was The Changeling with George C. Scott and
Yeah.
the
Remember
little
that.
kid buried in the well.
The
Like,
little kid buried. Yeah.
that one
You
freaked
know-
me out.
Yeah. No, Mike, the scene with the red rubber ball.
Yeah. It's
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
No, but Mike, the one scene in that movie that freaked me out, it wasn't the ghost. It was the very opening scene where George C. Scott's wife and the kid get killed in the phone booth.
yeah. No, that's
That
Pretty disturbing.
that did it for me. Like I was just like, so wait a minute, I could go in a phone booth and I could get taken out by a car accident.
yeah. Doesn't seem fair.
That ruined that to me. The rest of that movie was gravy because I had already seen a lot of scary movies, and I was like, the car toll booth or the car phone booth thing.
What year
destroyed
was
me.
that? What year was that?
Oh God,
83 or
that
something.
that had to
83?
be No, I think it was 80 or 79, man.
Oh, okay.
That's old. That's an old flick.
But the thing freaked me out. Road
Now
Warrior
what? Now
kind of freaked me
what
out.
movie? What movie got your nerves the most? Like while it was like you were like, oh, oh my god, this is just. I'm like,
Jesus.
whoa. For me, it was
Well,
Saving Private Ryan. The first was at 10 minutes or whatever.
Yeah,
I was
the
on a
first
date.
real-
I was on a date, and I
Oh my
wasn't
God.
even really into this woman.
Wait,
But
wait,
by
wait.
the end of that scene, we were holding hands like tightly.
You went on a date to save. You went on a date to Saving Private Ryan, like for real?
Yeah,
That's a
I didn't
subject
know.
of a podcast. I want to hear more about this.
yeah, no shit.
It's normal to go on a date to a horror movie because the girl jumps in your arms, right?
Right.
Man.
Yeah.
Kinda like
Instead, Darcy's jumping into her arms because of D-Day.
Oh my gosh, man! No, that was a tough one.
I was like, okay. I was like, oh, they're good. And I was like, go in the water. It's like,
Oh,
just.
Wait, this is even better. What's your favorite like war movie? World War II movie?
I don't know if it's my favorite. So I don't know.
Well,
I don't know if this is my favorite, but one that I saw recently that was 1,000 times better than I thought it was going to be, and was pretty rough to watch, was Fury, with the Brad Pitt movie about the tank commander.
With the tank. Yes.
I did not know what I was getting into. I was like, hey man, I'll just Brad Pitt, it's a tank movie, whatever. And like by the end of it, I was like looking through my fingers,
Yeah.
That was a.
I like that alternative. It's a series. Was it Man in the High Tower?
Oh,
Like that?
Yeah.
That
From
was
Amazon.
really good.
The first season
Well,
was like, mwah. That was fantastic.
Yeah, but that's all
The Man in
fictional,
the High
right?
Castle.
That's the one where what if they won?
Right. So Japan got the West Coast. Well, the West of the Rockies, and Germans got.
Right.
Darcy, I put that because I think that first season was fantastic. But I put that series in. It could have been so much better than it ended up being. Like I watched season 2 and season 3, and I was just like, I just felt it could have been better. Like the final season.
Some things. I mean, maybe it could have been better.
But it was good. It was still good.
But some things, I think it needed to like just have that ending after the first.
It could have ended after the first season.
Yeah.
And
there are lots of things that are like that.
another
the writers just didn't have anything left, or someone left. Obviously, something changed. So
another good alternate reality World War II movie. Did you ever see The Final Countdown?
Oh yeah, man.
That was a good
Michael
one.
Paré.
I'm not sure that I've seen that.
Wait a minute.
Who was it? Like Kirk Douglas?
Yes.
And they had like the modern jet fighters like going after the Japanese heroes.
Yes. That's a great time travel movie too.
And the guy that stays
a bunch of movies that we're talking about.
Wait,
they're all 1980.
Was it Michael Paré or was it Martin Sheen?
Michael Paré
Yeah.
is the lead.
Martin Sheen, I think.
I think Michael Paré is the lead. You think it's Martin Sheen?
Yeah.
We should look it up.
Yeah.
I think it's Martin Sheen.
The interesting thing about that movie is it's actually based on a real story. There's obviously not, but the experiment and the ship and
Kirk Douglas.
Okay.
Martin Sheen, Charles Dunning, Catherine Ross, James Ferrantino.
Charles Dunning was like the senator, I think.
Ron O'Neill.
But Michael Paré's in it.
Why would you remember Michael Paré and not Martin Sheen?
Because Martin Sheen's not in it. What movie? This is 1984.
You just read the cast.
Martin Sheen just read it. Movie. Yeah.
Martin Sheen.
Is this the 1984?
I don't
1980. It was released on August 1st, 1980.
Whoa. I'm looking at 1984.
God. It's like
So, you talk-
10:45
I-
at night.
I-
Okay, I'm gonna look at this because if you're saying there's another movie,
It's the
1980,
one. It's the one with the aircraft carrier.
Yeah.
it's actually not an aircraft carrier. It's like a destroyer.
What was
No,
the
it's
most difficult movie
No, it's an
for
aircraft carrier because they had the
anyone to
jets.
watch?
It's an aircraft carrier.
They had the
So-
jets.
It's not the Philadelphia Experiment then.
No, that's
No,
a
it's
different
not.
movie.
What are you guys
Different
talking about?
one.
It's the
Final
final
Countdown.
Countdown.
Oh, okay, yeah, Final Countdown.
What were you thinking of the whole time?
You brought it up.
I'm
No,
Is the
sorry, man.
Philadelphia Experiment the one where like there's a bomb or something?
The Philadelphia
Arizona.
Experiment, yeah, they tried to make the ship time travel, and that was based on a true incident, and it does star Michael
Oh.
Cray. Yeah.
I remember the Philadelphia Experiment.
Yeah, Final Countdown. That was.
Oh, we
fantastic.
missed Michael. Michael had blankets.
He'll be back. Don't worry.
Yeah, he was dancing behind you.
Final Countdown. Yeah,
Get
that
that
was a
kid to
good
go to
one.
bed.
Yeah, Catherine
Final
Ross.
But there was
Catherine-
have you seen
Catherine
Tora
Ross
Tora
is hot.
Tora?
Yeah,
Yes, of course.
That was a good World War II. And then I think what
What a-
was the one about D-Day? Was it just called D-Day? Where they
No,
had like
no.
all the
the longest.
No,
day.
longest day.
the longest day. The
That was-
longest
I think
day
I've
was
seen
great.
that, but I don't remember it.
What about
like
the
red
guns
buttons and
of
everybody.
the guns of Navarone?
I've seen
That's a
that.
good. That's a good movie. That's a great. Or Where Eagles Dare. That's
I
another
have not
great
seen
movie.
that.
Really good. Really, Richard Burton.
I mean, isn't it? I
Great
mean,
movie.
when you look back, at our age, and you look back at World War II, it just seems so epic, and there's so many stories, like movies and books, and just
No.
my great grandfather told me this. It was like, at least for the American involvement, it was like 4 years. It's like nothing.
Yeah,
It's-
but a
The
lot.
amount that came,
was so
the
epic, man.
effect that 4 years had on our culture, it's really unrivaled. Really.
Well, yeah, you know why, Mike? It was a real war. Like we
For
went over
existence.
there. We went over there like full tilt. First of all, we got bombed for one thing. That's when we finally like sent everybody over. And they had to go into Europe as an infantry and travel through countries and kick ass and die.
And
And
really,
also, and there was a draft.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that war was the last, like the Korean War is a thing too. They don't make a lot of movies about it, but that was a big fucking thing. Vietnam obviously gets celebrated by Hollywood because it was a bad idea. But it's funny too.
also-
I heard some
Are
Hollywood
there any
writers.
movies about the Iran war or the Iraq war?
Three Kings
No,
Not,
there were a
not
lot
much.
of.
with
Well,
Ice
no,
Cube,
there were a lot of anti-war
Mark
movies.
Wahlberg, and Ice Cube.
Well, no, but also they were making anti-war movies after Vietnam, but they were making anti-war movies during, Operation Desert Storm. Like there were a lot of them, and I wish I could rattle them off. I could post a list, I guess, on the podcast, but it was the first time that Hollywood was really cranking out anti-war films during an actual war when our guys were getting killed. And that really hadn't happened before. Like Apocalypse Now and all that shit came out after the fact. Full Metal Jacket,
Platoon.
No,
Platoon.
It wasn't happening in
Um,
pro wrestling because I remember Sergeant Slaughter turned heel and went. He was siding with the Iraqis. Remember?
Yeah. Yeah.
He was fighting Hulk Hogan.
One here, so I will bring up this one thing, and maybe we can talk about it another time, or you guys can just look into it. But it's something that I just had read about recently that I thought was interesting because I'm kind of a student of World War II. It's fascinating to me, obviously, but it is fascinating. But it was a story about the United States plan after like Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and the fact that there were seven more bombs that were in development or already made with targets in mind and dates in mind. And I think the next one was like August 19th. They did release the date. They never released the target. A lot of people think it was Tokyo. It was going to be more Fat Man bombs, like little boy was Hiroshima, Fat Man was Nagasaki, and then the rest were going to be Fat Man bombs again. But Tibbets, who had flown the Enola Gay, had trained something like 6 other crews.
Right.
And there were other planes besides Enola Gay and Boxcar, because Boxcar is the one that dropped it on Nagasaki, that were outfitted especially to drop it. And like after Japan surrendered, it just never got talked about again. But I think the article or the book was called The Third Shot, and it's
were they all Japan?
It was all to be Japan, yeah. And that the U.S. the strategy, because here's the thing:
I think
Oppenheimer and the
Europe
guys,
theater was over at that point.
it was over.
you're
But
right.
the politicians, or you had Oppenheimer and the guys in the Manhattan Project that were like, it's going to take 1, maybe 2. But the politicians, since no one really understood what was happening, no one believed it would just take 1 bomb or 2. So it was 9. It was a campaign of 9 that were going to be dropped, and they never had to do the rest. And just, I had never thought about that. Like, what happened if they didn't surrender after Nagasaki? And it's totally fascinating. And a lot of the documents are still classified.
Well, what's fucked up too is like Japanese culture after that, like is hugely
Godzilla.
Godzilla,
Science.
and then you fast forward to like anime, like Akira.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, I saw that when did I see that? That was like, was it 1989 or 1990?
Well, the movie was, but the comic was around in
Earlier.
the 80s, I think. Yeah. But like they never got over it. Let's put it that way. Like
That's understandable. Yeah.
Yeah,
we
hundreds
think-
of thousands of people died. I mean,
yeah,
Lots of
and
people
you
don't
watch-
get over lots of
Well, the
things.
people that did
I was
Yeah.
watching.
Yeah.
Sorry, a friend
That's
of
even worse.
a guy that I
Yeah.
worked with. A guy that I
Can
worked
you
with. He was Korean.
Can you imagine that shit? Can you imagine that shit? If you were
there was no
like,
context. No one knew it existed. There was no the people just saw it. It was like the world was ending.
yeah,
It was
Yeah.
like the end of the world. It was like the
Yeah.
apocalypse. I can't imagine that. I mean, they had no idea what they were seeing. I mean, the people that were outside Hiroshima
yeah,
had
and
zero
now
idea what they were seeing.
and now, how many of those bombs exist? Like thousands.
So there's an actual, because this is kind of another topic I'm interested in. There's a very short read. You can read it in a day. It's a book called The Bomb. I'll have to come up with the author, but he talks about the nuclear bomb and like today's world, and the fact that most of the weapons that the US has in its arsenal right now are old, like built during the 60s and 70s. And these warheads were not designed to last the length of time, that we're using them, and that the non-proliferation treaties and things like that, are we making new ones? Are we not? I'm sure we are.
Sure we
off
are.
the record. In other countries maybe too, but these systems were not designed to sit around for 40 years, right? And we're not making new ones.
Is there a risk that they'll like explode or something?
Not so much. It's just that they're not going to function properly. I mean, again, all the software, the technology, the hardware.
Well, how great would
That would be
how
nice.
great would that be? How great
Everybody's
would that be?
pressing the button and none of the
and nothing happens.
Yeah, that would be pretty fantastic.
But just the whole, I just found it fascinating that the U.S. government, when Truman was like, let's do this, they were prepared to do it. They had a plan in place to do it 9 times, and it was supposed to be, what was it, the 6th, the 9th, the 19th, and it was all the way through October that they were just going to keep doing it until Japan surrendered. And
Wow.
Oppenheimer was right. He was like, It's not gonna take. It's not gonna take more than one, maybe
I'm
two.
really good that they didn't do Tokyo first. If they had like wiped out the leadership, then nobody would have surrendered.
It wouldn't have mattered. It wouldn't have mattered on the islands because they didn't surrender
Right.
after anyway. Like, I mean, Iwo Jima and all these places in the Pacific, they were still fighting after the war was over.
Yeah,
Like our guys were getting killed.
Wasn't one guy, he was still holed up
Yes.
somewhere in
Yeah,
like the
Until
early
70s or
90s.
something.
yeah.
It was like the early 90s.
They were
I
still
thought.
finding. Yeah, they were still
Yeah.
finding these guys on the islands.
Can you imagine that? Gosh. If
I
you
mean,
were
if the
like
last word that you
holed
get,
up on an island for like 40 years with your
I don't
rifle, you're ready to go.
Sick. It's crazy. So, Mike, what are we
fascinating.
doing? Mike,
Well, no,
what are we doing? Are we wrapping up,
I
or
think
how
we're-
long?
I think we're wrapping it up. I will say this. I mean, you guys, I know, Jack, you're in Jersey, but if you guys haven't been out to the Air and Space Museum in Chantilly, go.
You know, that's what I was thinking about that. I went there in 2019, and I made the mistake of going with the family and stuff. And apparently I asked too many questions, because I like to know how things work,
Right.
So people get bored when they're with me because I got to talk to all the people that work there and all that stuff. So, but you guys seem like assholes just like me. So I thought we could all go out there.
I would love to
one
go
I've
day.
out
been
there
there a
with you
few
guys.
times. Yeah.
Yeah, it's, I mean, the fact that they have the Enola Gay put together and you can just look at it. I mean, I stood there and just stared at it for like 20 minutes. I was just like, I can't believe I'm looking at this thing, and it's like, it's all outfitted the way it was outfitted because it was taken apart for a long time. They had the cockpit on display in the early 90s.
At first it was down it was down in DC. So
But they
when I was
didn't have it
in
all put together.
Well,
But then
wait
they
a
had
minute.
I'm sorry?
Didn't they have it the Enola Gay painted on the side of it, like with
The name is on the side of it.
it is, yeah.
But it's
That's-
and then the fact that they got the Discovery space shuttle there, they got an SR-71, they've got this Japanese plane called a Gin Blossom, which was basically a suicide, a kamikaze.
Right.
It's like a missile with wings on it that would be dropped by another plane that they would pilot, and smash into a ship. And they actually captured like all the stuff they captured after the war. That
I heard those guys were so high on like PCP and shit too. The kamikaze pilot.
Later on, and this is a whole other thing, but I read a book about it. The very first kamikaze pilots. It's like they couldn't train pilots fast enough because they were losing them so fast. And this was like throughout all the Americans, the Germans, the Japanese. There were such high fatalities with the pilots, and the first kamikazes were like super honorable, like good pilots, blah blah. But after like a couple months, they were just bringing kids in that had no idea what they were doing, and they were like throwing them in these cockpits. Like it was horrible. Like they had no idea what they were doing. They were just using bodies.
But I heard they would get them high on drugs too,
Probably, yeah,
just to make them compliant.
yeah.
Did you guys ever,
like-
speaking of the bombs, did you guys see Chernobyl, the TV
No.
show?
Chilling.
No.
Watch
You
that.
gotta see it. It's
Gotta watch it.
fantastic.
It's only like
beautiful.
6 episodes or something.
Yeah,
but
it's 6 episodes.
Yeah, but you got me watching The Mandalorian now.
You gotta watch.
I
you
love
gotta
that
watch
show.
Chernobyl. It's
Chernobyl
fantastic.
is
I
stunning.
heard-
It's
I heard
stunning.
That's on HBO, right?
Yeah, it's HBO. I heard it's depressing.
It's
It's
interesting.
so good though.
Yeah.
It's
All
so
right,
I
good.
see
I'll-
lots of those really like if I know it's going to be depressing, I'm not looking for that. Like it took me a long time to watch the what was the one about the female fighter and then she becomes paraplegic or whatever. And, like she's doing all this
yeah.
winning. It was like the prize
Yeah,
fighter or
yeah,
the,
yeah. No, it's
the
the Clint
Cinderella
Eastwood.
story or
No,
yeah,
it's
it's Clint Eastwood. Yeah.
It's Clint
Oh.
Eastwood. $1 million
Money.
baby. $1
Yeah,
million
man.
baby.
I never saw
But
that.
Chernobyl
Oh
is
man, that was
Chernobyl is
that
just
was such a
fascinating.
letdown. I was like all excited. I was like, oh man, what?
Yeah.
Oh, come
it's-
on.
No,
Yeah,
no.
I wouldn't. I wouldn't. I wouldn't say
ending
Cher-
is
I'm
the
sorry.
ending is awful. It's awful.
Yeah, I wouldn't say Chernobyl is depressing. Like that's its main thing. To me, it's very interesting. It's
Yeah.
almost like a documentary with
Documentary.
a drama
It's like a
street.
history.
Yeah.
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 But I'm with you,
Oh,
Darcy. I don't. If I know something is a downer, I don't want. I don't have time for that. Like I don't need.
Yeah, because we already have enough. You know,
I already have enough for that.
Yeah.
I'm with
yeah,
you.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah,
need to
life's-
watch stuff that's. You
Yeah.
got to protect your brain a little bit.
Yeah.
right?
Life sucks. Make something fun.
If you ever need something uplifting, just watch Friends of Zeus.
Or and
Yeah.
Friends of Zeus, and I almost every day watch an episode of Daniel Tiger's Neighborhood, which is also very good.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Dana and I just watched. We watched the Hannibal Lecter trilogy.
Well, that's uplifting.
Oh,
Yeah.
I loved it. I loved it. I loved every second of it. I was like, thank you, Anthony Hopkins. Thank you very much.
All right, man.
All
I'm
right,
going to
wrap it up, Mikey.
Well, you got to say
Wrap-
it, Jack. You got to say it.
All right, boys.
All right.
Boys. I think we've been on long enough. I think it's time to say we gotta go. We gotta
Take
go.
care, guys.
all right. Peace.
Love you. Thank you, viewers.